Hello, this is your movie theater explorer. This is Brent here, your movie theater explorer, and today I'm going to be sharing some of the movies that I've recently seen either in theaters, in movie theaters, or a dedicated home theater. Um, or home theater in general. Anyway, um, as always, I'm going to put it in the description, timestamps, so you can skip to any of the reviews that you want to that either interest you or anything like that. But yeah, I just wanted to take time and discuss all the ones that I've seen, um, and again, thank you again for tuning in. And let's get started. Okay, the first one I'm gonna do because I just saw it. This is kind of like I got out probably about a half an hour or probably about 50 minutes ago, probably close to more 45 minutes ago, 45, 50 minutes ago, something like that. Anyway, at the moment I'm recording this anyway. So anyway, it's Avatar Fire and Ash. So it's the newest movie coming out this weekend. And so I went to go see it. I have enjoyed the other Avatar movies. I saw the first one. Um, I saw it in 3D at a local movie theater that I was working at the time. And the 3D experience was incredible. The depth was incredible, and just everything. And I saw it a few times in theaters, and then when they did a re-release in theaters, I went to go see it in IMAX 3D, and and that was just a really incredible experience. Felt very immersive and everything. And so obviously the first one just visually it was just really cool, just something that was visually mind-blowing to me. Yeah, but I mean obviously visually I think the story was fine. um so yeah, that's the first one. The second one, The Way of Water, came out 3 years ago. First day I saw it in IMAX 3D, and that was incredible. And um and of course, I did share my experience that I saw it again a few months ago when they brought it back in theaters to get you ready for the new one. And so again, it was again a great visual experience. I did like the story. It's obviously none of these stories are like mind blowing, but I found myself starting to care about the characters. And honestly, that's I think what got me into Avatar Fire and Ash. Again, I didn't feel like I had the highest of expectations going in. I was definitely looking forward to it. I was definitely looking forward to another trip to Pandora. But like again, I thought like, okay, I'm probably just gonna be like hey, it's gonna be another great visual experience, and it was. Actually, it was a really great visual experience. It just wasn't, if it makes sense, it wasn't as fresh or as unique as the first two. Um, Obviously, and I maybe that big 13-year jump we had to wait might have had that impact. And because obviously the first one was just so cool, the second one, again going into the underwater world, was just incredible. So it's still great to go back to Pandora. I found myself, and again, this is the hard part because I know this is going to be different for everyone. I've read some of some of people's thoughts and impressions and reviews on that. But but for me, I found myself getting more invested in the characters. Not that I'm saying like, oh, the characters are super well written. Like I think they were decently written, and but I found myself just really caring what was happening. So, and just what was going to happen next and everything. Some of the things kind of got spoiled in the trailer. But yeah, it was still just but still I found myself getting emotionally invested in it. So um emotionally in the character's journey. So, and the performances were great. I can definitely tell you that right off the back. And definitely the returning characters like Sam Worthington. I thought Zoe Saldana as Natiri did an excellent job as always. Um, the one that really stood out to me, um, and I'm looking to make sure I get her name correctly, Una Chaplin as Varang. She's the new villain in it, and she did an outstanding job. She was definitely menacing and everything. So yeah, it's I, I I do have to bring out, yeah, obviously saw it in IMAX 3D. The depth of the 3D was incredible. It was an HFR, so high frame rate, and I'm not the biggest fan of the higher frame rate. I'm going to be honest. I've seen them use it for 3D for ones like the Hobbit trilogy and all that, and I do have to admit the 3D does look incredible. The depth and the detail and the everything looks incredible. Just the movement does is a little off putting, but it was. I mean, here's the thing. I still am glad I got to check it out this way, and it's this is honestly my recommended way, my highly recommended way of seeing this movie, experiencing this movie in theaters, is IMAX 3D. Um, what was I gonna? Oh yeah, and the sound design and I mean, immersed with the visuals with the IMAX 3D and how and all that, and then the sound design was actually really great as well, and just the sound, like just how I felt surrounded, just immersed into this world through the sound, and just like the environment, the ambient sounds for like the environments that we're in and everything, and all the um later on when there's some explosions or and all that. What I'm like, what's that? I'm trying to think of the yeah. There's like the boom stuff, kind of. I could feel it shake or like yeah, just feeling those vibrations were really cool. So it like the sound design was incredible, and the sound design in the theater was in IMAX theater was incredible. So I do highly recommend seeing it in IMAX 3D if you're a fan of the film. Like I'm gonna be honest, this is not like again I think because I've seen these other ones, I've found myself getting more attached, and I think that's why I found a more emotional attachment to this. So I mean, this is my raw thoughts on it. Um, but I mean, again, you're a fan. If you're the fan of the movie, you're a fan of the other two, and you want to see this one, go see it in IMAX 3D. That's my high recommendation. Um, okay, we're going to move on to the next one. I got to see A Christmas Story in theaters, and so obviously this came out before. I mean, originally came out before I was born, and so I wanted to go see it, and it was definitely like I mean I watched I think I've watched it maybe all the way through a couple times. This is not one I regularly go back to, but this is one I've seen on TV, and I would just flip the channels and watch a bit here and there, get plenty of laughs. It's definitely a lot of fun, and just getting to experience it in theaters was actually a lot of fun. I think there was a decent amount of people when I saw it. It was not. It was in a Cinemark theater when they were playing it. They were playing a few movies during the Christmas season, and so yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was kind of like the picture looked good, and it um, definitely looked filmic, and I definitely liked the the sound was good as well. It was more front heavy, which not a lot of surrounds, but honestly, it's an older movie. It's not one that was designed for this extravagant sounding experience. So, I mean, again, I wouldn't say it is what it is. I say it's perfect for what it is, if that makes sense. So, I don't know if any other theaters are going to be playing it this Christmas season, but if you have a nearby movie theater that ends up playing it, I do recommend seeing it this way. It's fun, just seeing some of the small details and all that was kind of cool to point out, and just getting a little more invested in the story than personally just me flipping through the TV. So, yeah, that's my recommendation for that one. Um, I watched Star Trek First Contact in my dedicated home theater. I have it on 4K Ultra HD, and to me, this is the one that I would describe like if you're, um, I didn't grow up big on Star Trek. I think in my early 20s, or actually more my mid 20s, is when I started checking them out a little bit with the Star Trek, the 2009 version that came out in 2009, the reboot one. I saw that one in theaters, and that when I worked there, and that was really cool. And then I didn't really check out till um, I did kind of watch The Wrath of Khan at one point, and then the only other one I ended up, or the I watched the other two in theaters. I worked at another movie theater when Star Trek Into Darkness came out. I did actually see that one um, in IMAX when it came out, and then I watched it another time in the movie theater that I was working at. Um, and then I saw Star Trek Beyond in IMAX when it came out. And then anyway, so I went through a lot of this in my Facebook post, so I'm not going to keep like repeat it all the way through. But I did start a few years back deciding to check out more of the Star Trek movies, and um, decided to check out Star Trek First Contact. And for someone that's not really watched a lot of Star Trek, this is something that I think is a great way to just like you've never seen any of the movies. I'm like, this is a great one to just pick up and watch, and just you get some like you get enough explained for the particular story being told, and you kind of get a little bit of an understanding of what's going on. That if you've not seen any other ones before, I think you're fine. So that's that's my recommendation. In the 4K Ultra HD, the picture looked really good. Um, Colors looked great. Definitely looked filmic, and the sound sounded extremely good as well. Um, I mean, again, it's Dolby True HD 7.1, so it's not Dolby Atmos, but it still sounded great. So yeah, definitely do recommend if you're a Star Trek fan picking it up on 4K Ultra HD. If you have a dedicated or a home theater a really good home theater setup that you want to experience movies like that. Um, Another one I went to go see in a movie theater. I just started looking up some of the theaters that are playing certain Christmas movies. One of them was the Christmas Chronicles. I saw the Christmas Chronicles back in on Netflix in 2018 when it came out, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a fun Christmas movie. The big highlight being Kurt Russell as Santa Claus. I think he did a great job. Like he brought out the coolness of the character of Santa Claus, and still just fun seeing him play that role, and this journey that they go on was really cool. The kids go on is really cool. Um, I won't spoil it, just in case you haven't seen it before. I mean, again, I don't know if you'll get a chance to see it in theaters. It was playing one night in theaters. Hopefully, you got a local theater that ends up playing it. And if you do, I actually do recommend trying to check it out that way. I do have to note, it's like it sounded good. Picture wise, it I think I don't know if it was just the theater I was in. It just didn't look as sharp as I would have hoped it to be. But at the same time, I'm not sure if that's the theater or if that's just what the Regal Theater that I saw it at. That's the print that they were given or the file or whatever. But um, but it wasn't like visually like a little blurry, I guess, or just not a sharp. I wouldn't use blurry. I would say just not a sharp. So, and again, I don't know if that's just because of how how the how it was just given to them, or if it's just like it's a Netflix movie, so it it like the visual effects looked good, nothing outstanding. It could just be because it's a Netflix movie. That's just how it looked. So, but anyway, regardless, I think it's still a fun way to experience the movies in a theater if you can. It's not like, oh, you gotta spend like so much money to go see it this way. It's just one of those like, hey, it was just a fun way to experience this movie. But and definitely especially if you have a local theater that's not too expensive, I do recommend seeing it this way. Um, I do have to put a little bit of a nip at that. Just felt really cool. Like that felt immersive in a way, but just without getting into too much details, one of the characters um, makes her way into the North Pole, and just that way that it happens was kind of cool to experience in a movie theater. So I'll just say it that way. And again, it's a fun one to watch if you're looking for a movie to watch this Christmas. Again, if you have a good home theater setup, it's I mean, again, it's on Netflix. It's not a bad way to see it. Again, and again, if you have a local theater that's not playing it, that is playing it, but it's not super expensive, that's reasonable. I'd say I think it's worth watching, especially if you watched it before. Um, anyway, that's the Christmas Chronicles. Another one, another Christmas movie, and I've seen quite a few Christmas movies the last little bit. Um, Obviously, it's the Christmas season, so I like to try to go through a few of these and see some ones I either haven't seen before, ones I just like want to re-experience. One that I did see last year that I rewatched was the best Christmas pageant ever. Um, so it came out last year. It came out right at the beginning of November, I believe, and I wasn't planning to go see it right off the back. I was gonna wait till after Thanksgiving, but I just felt, you know what, I should go see it, and so I did, and I definitely was very impressed with the movie. It had a really good story, um, and everything, and just like it one that left a really good impression on me. And I watched it on Blu-ray recently, and I watched in the dedicated home theater, and it was definitely a really good way to experience it. The picture was good. Again, it's not 4K, of course, but honestly, it still looked really good. I was definitely very happy with how it looked, and the sound still sounded really good as well. It was in Dolby Atmos, so yeah, I think it was a good home theater presentation, honestly, or good home theater experience. Again, this is not the type of movie that's going to blow the doors down or anything like that. But it's still a good home theater experience. I think it's just a very good movie overall, and I do highly recommend it if you've seen the trailer, you want to see it. You're just looking for a good Christmas movie. So there's that. Um, Another one that I saw was Elf, and I got to see that in a movie theater. I got to see that at a Cinemark theater that was um, playing it. So I went to go see it. There was actually quite a few people in the theater that I was in, and it was definitely fun. It's like I did see this one in theaters back in 2003 when it first came out. Not the first weekend it came out, but I think a few weeks after it came out. And so, and it's definitely one that I've gone back to over the years, and definitely going to get a great kick out of. The performance by Will Ferrell is great as Elf, or as Buddy, and definitely filled with a lot of great characters and everything. It's one of those that just puts a smile on my face and definitely gets a huge chuckle out of me. So, and there were definitely a lot of people that were chuckling quite a bit, and there were definitely kids that actually sounded like they were actually having a great time as well. Um, so yeah, it's definitely one if you haven't seen this one before, I highly do recommend it. If you have a local theater playing it, I definitely do recommend checking it out that way. It's even if you've seen it before, it's still a great way to experience this movie. Definitely a great Christmas movie. Okay, the next one I saw in, was Song Sung Blue, and so what this was, it doesn't come out till next week, but I went to what's known as the secret movie, and so um, you know you've probably seen the listings for it in the theater. So certain Mondays they'll play a secret movie, and so I decided to go see it this time. I was curious what they would choose, and I had a couple of thoughts of what it would be, and this ended up being one of those that I was thinking of. But so yeah, Song Sung Blue. This is the basically the performers. So Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson playing this couple that basically would start basically known as like the Neil Diamond impersonator. So and I think they were pretty big. Um, I don't know exactly when. It's based on a true story. I don't know the whole account. I didn't really go full into it after the movie, and I try to learn a little bit more to see what was accurate, what wasn't, kind of thing. But I didn't really get full details into this. But um, but yeah, they were. I think they were Lightning and Thunder was their stage name. So anyway, they performed in a bunch of different spaces, and so and it was actually a really good story that unfolded. So I didn't really know going in what to expect. I figured it's like, oh yeah, them performing their journeys and struggles and all that, and I'll just put it this way. There's um, there's something that happens in the middle of the movie, which I won't go into. Maybe yeah. Anyway, so that's all. That's probably all I'm gonna say. But was that turn that made me more appreciate this movie a lot more than I thought I would. I think that's the best way I could probably put it without giving into too much spoilers. It's definitely one of those that had a that had the aspect in the middle of the movie that kind of changed things, I guess. But yeah. So anyway, but regardless, I still recommend checking this out. If you've seen the trailer, you have an interest in seeing this, and you like music, biographical movies, I do recommend checking this one out. I think it's a good one. I think it's worth seeing. Um, okay, the last one I'm just going to dive into is another Christmas movie. I did not see this one in theaters. I did see this one in theaters a couple years ago during Christmas time, and then I was at local theater playing it, and then last year Cinemark was playing a bunch of movies during the middle of August, and this was one of those. And and so and so I went to go see Gremlins. But anyway, Gremlins this time I experienced in my dedicated home theater. I picked it up in 4K Ultra HD, so I wanted to watch it this way. It's definitely one I like to go back and rewatch during Christmas time, and so yeah, and it's definitely a lot of fun. It's one of those that I I guess I guess there's the debate whether it's a Christmas movie or not, and I'm not going to go into that, but I like watching it during Christmas. So anyway, and it's got a lot of fun creature effects, and definitely like let's see, and I like the score by Jerry Goldsmith. I like the just a lot of the hidden Easter eggs. There's a lot of science fiction, classic science fiction Easter eggs featured throughout the movie, and there's some. there's some fun ones that are just in there. So um, I don't know if you have ever seen it before, but I do highly recommend if you want like an offbeat Christmas movie that has like a bit of a horror um, template to it, but it's like more horror comedy, I would say. That's how I would describe it because it's not like super gruesome, but it's kind of not light tone, but it's got like a comedic edge to it. But it's man, I'm trying to think the right way to describe it. I'm sorry, I'm kind of stumbling with it, but yeah, it is a kind of a horror movie, but it does have a comedic tone to it that lightens the tone a little bit, if that makes sense. Regardless, if you're looking for something like that, I do highly recommend seeing this movie. If you have a local movie theater that actually is playing it, I do recommend checking it out that way. The 4K Ultra HD disc looked really and sounded really good. The 4K image definitely had quite a bit of grain, but it definitely felt very filmic, and the sound sounded quite good as well in DTS HD 5.1. So, yeah, it was definitely a great way to experience the movie. Um, so let's see. Yeah, I do recommend that one. Okay, the last little bit, I'm going to just talk about a couple trailers that I saw. Um, or prologue, actually. Prologue and trailer. So the first one, the Odyssey. Um, Before I figured I wasn't going to see the prologue because I thought it was only attached to a couple movies, which I did not have playing near me, as it's a 70 millimeter print. I do have an IMAX theater, but it's not one that has 70 millimeter. Um, Hopefully, one day I have a local IMAX theater that has 70 millimeter. But anyway, um, but I seen Avatar: Fire and Ash. They played the prologue before the movie, and that experience was definitely incredible. Um, like the scope of the picture looked incredible. All the details, just feeling the scope of the Trojan horse. And that's probably the most I'll without giving too much, but still, just this the epic scope and scale of it just was incredible, and and it was shot well and paced very well. Like even the music, I didn't even like let it register to me until like near the end that I'm like, oh wait, the music um really was built in a way that just echoes like the feelings and the pacing of it. So it was definitely, and the sound was definitely loud and very immersive. So, and again, it was definitely incredible. It definitely got me way more psyched to see this movie. So, yeah, that's Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey coming out um, during July. I think July 17th. I want to say. I'm gonna look that up quickly and just make sure, but I believe that's the the date. So yep, and it looks yep July 17th. All right, so that's July 17th of next year, and then the last one it was just a very brief teaser. Again, I got a few other ones as well. I got one from Moana that the 3D and all that look good. Um, I'm definitely going to check it out just out of curiosity. I'm not as excited for the live action Moana. I really like the animated one is great. So, but I'll check out the live action one. I'm still curious enough and want to give it a chance. Um, and then Avengers Doomsday, the Mandalorian Grogu, which I'm excited for, or the Mandalorian Grogu. Um, so it's kind of like the same teaser, but had a few different differences. Um, but anyway, the other one that I more wanted to get into because I don't know how many people are going to talk about it, but I'll just talk about it briefly. There's not a whole lot that I can say at this time, but it's a teaser for Avengers Doomsday. It's basically a minute. There's not a. It doesn't show anything like. So basically, just shows that if you want to skip ahead, I guess, without me spoiling anything. But basically, it does feature Steve Rogers as Captain America. Well, Steve Rogers in it. And it kind of features, like, I think near the end of Avengers Endgame, and just shows him, I think, with his kid, I believe. Anyway, but there's not a whole lot to say of it, but it's still enough that I'm like, I'm intrigued. Obviously, I would need more to get more invested in it, but I'm still excited for it. I mean, sounds like I'm not invested at all. I am. I'm definitely excited for it. I think I've said this before. I feel like Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret War feels like um, the last hurrah for Kevin Feige for his time over Marvel. Um, and not just that, but also some of the other characters, because he didn't just do starting with Iron Man. He that's where he was the head of Marvel Studios. That's where it started with. But there is he was like a producer on some of the other ones, like X-Men and Spider-Man, I believe. So he kind of had his hands in some of these characters, which my understanding, my shouldn't say my understanding. This is my guess. I know some of the ones they've announced that are going to be in the movie, but some of them are ones that he's basically was like a producer, involved as a producer. So it's more like a big hurrah for a lot of this for over the last 25 years is what I would expect. Again, I don't know who's all going to be in it. I know some of the ones they've announced a lot of it. You've probably seen some of the announcements, but if you haven't, hopefully I didn't say too much. But anyway, end of spoiler. Those are the trailers that I've seen, and I think that's where I'm gonna leave you guys at. And thank you for tuning in. And again, the obviously with the end of the year coming, I'm going to share my top 10 of the year, and also I think it's gonna be my top 20 of what I'm looking forward to next year. A lot of these might come right at the beginning of January, so I may not. I might do like some kind of special recording before the end of the year, because I also kind of want to talk about some of the, because I saw quite a few re-releases this year, and I want to kind of rank a few of them as like what were the re-release experiences that meant the most to me, or something like that. I'm still trying to figure that part out. But until then, thank you for tuning in again. I really appreciate any of you that come in and tune in and listen to me speak about all these movies that I see in theaters, and I'm hoping that this inspires you to check out a few movies in theaters. And thank you very much. This is Brent, your movie theater explorer. You have a great night. Bye.